Hi, so my last video did pretty well. As of writing, it's at 150. Actually, I checked just earlier today. This isn't in the script. I checked earlier. It's at 400 now, so that's cool. But for now, welcome to Yarnum, home of blood administration. 95% of the population is insane, and the other 5% are dying, deathly ill, or otherwise unable to exist. Your goal in Bloodborne is to survive a night in Britain. So, goes without saying, this game is hard. Bloodborne was made by From Software, who had their first big hit with Dark Souls, Demon Souls, which was a masterpiece, and then Dark Souls 2. We don't talk about Dark Souls 2. Then my favorite game from their catalog, Bloodborne. Then Dark Souls 3, very close second. Honestly, either could be my favorite depending on how I'm feeling any given day. Then Sekiro, and then Elden Ring. Honestly, all of their games, except Dark Souls 2, are some of my favorite games of all time. But as I said before, Bloodborne is my favorite. So you start the game in a clinic, you get a blood transfusion, get thrown into character creation. Pick an origin, name, customize your face, then wake up and be harassed by a ghost werewolf on fire. Then, walk downstairs, die to the regular werewolf. Welcome to the hunter's dream. We got a doll that levels you up, an old man in a wheelchair named Garmin, and little ghost dudes named messengers holding up your weapons. The axe, the cleaver, and the cane whip. Pick whichever one you want. Personally, I prefer the axe. I don't care whichever one you pick. Walk up the stairs, and boom, you get a Glock. I don't care which gun you pick, just teleport back to Yarnum and go kill some Londoners. The best thing about this game is the Glock, but besides that, it's the atmosphere. I really like the dark, dying city with all, the blood-stained gothic architecture. It's just so good. Okay, you make your way around, walk down these stairs a bit, and then you see this werewolf being, hung up and set on fire. So that sets the mood pretty fast. Run around, look around for a bit, and, walk up to this bridge. Oh, and I, forgot to mention, as you were climbing up the ladder, you heard a screech. Just thought I'd mention that. Anyway, walk across the bridge and... God, it's so good. Like, the build-up with things getting slowly more intense, and this fight, testing all the skills you've gained up to this point, and oh my god. I'm not going to walk you through the whole game like this. I just wanted to walk you through the first area to the tutorial boss to show on a small scale why I love this game so much. Also, yes, that was the tutorial boss. But the entire game is kind of structured with these rises and falls and tension. It's really good. All the Souls games are built like this, but Bloodborne leans way harder into the horror aspect, which I really like. Now I'm going to do a little lore here. Not the whole in-depth story, just the broad strokes. It's not like I'm new to the topic, also go watch my FNAF video, but I might get small details wrong. If you want to play this game for yourself, I recommend skipping to this timestamp, or just stop watching. But, way before your character gets to Yarnum, the biggest government in the city ventured deep below said city into ancient catacombs to find what's called a Great One. H.P. Lovecraft-inspired beings that exist on a different plane of existence. But this one has been wounded and trapped here. So, this government, now known as the Healing Church, starts to harvest the blood from this Great One. And they drink it, and it heals all wounds and illness. Also use this in-game to heal, which is pretty cool. The church starts distributing the blood to the public, and everything's going smoothly until people start going insane, werewolves and other monsters start to show up, and the entire city gets messed up. So, what does the church do, you ask? they employ hunters like you to deal with these guys because they ain't gonna do anything. And then this one great one takes an interest in these hunters, called the Moon Presence, and it creates the hunter's dream for Gurman, who was actually the first hunter. Gurman creates a doll, who is the doll that lives up in game. She's also based on another hunter named Maria from the DLC. However, because it's in the DLC, I actually haven't played that yet, so I can't really comment on it. So that's very basically what happens until you start playing, but of course there's Bergenworth College, you have an entirely different, like, political and moral view on how the Great One should be communicated with and stuff. And then, like, the School of Mensis, again, whole different thing. But basically, all you need to know up until you get to the city is about the Healing Church. They're the main threat. Alright, so obviously the vibe and story is great, but the gameplay is why I love this game so much. Like, the dodge versus the rolling of the Souls games in Elden Ring feels so smooth, despite the 30 frames. And as you probably heard me say earlier, the Glock is by far my favorite part of this game, because it is your parry. Yes, you don't kill things with the Glock, you parry with it. And then you follow it up with something called a Visceral, and it feels so good. It's like, and this gameplay is really good against the beast enemies, obviously, but it's even better against the human enemies, because you're both moving so fast, and it's like this kind of like bob and weave of combat, and it feels really good, and it's so satisfying. Like, oh my god, I haven't even mentioned the trick weapons yet. This part isn't even in the script. The trick weapons are like, it's 2 weapons in 1. So, like, for example, the cane whip, it starts as a cane, but you can do like this fancy little move, and it turns into like a whip with a bunch of different little blades in it, and it's so cool. My personal favorite is the Beast Cutter from the DLC. Yes, I know I said I didn't play it, but I have played it. I just didn't beat it yet because the Orphan of Kos is so hard. Anyway, listen, the Beast Cutter is so cool. It's like a strength-based whip. It's awesome. But wait, I'm getting sidetracked here. It doesn't matter. But all the weapons are so cool. The only downside to that is that there's way less weapons in Bloodborne than in any of the other FromSoft games, with the exception of Sekiro, which has 1 weapon. Still pretty good. Like, obviously, this game has downsides. Like, 30 FPS, and blood vials being a limited resource for some reason, and like the Chalice dungeons are so stupid. But, despite all of that, please, Miyazaki, give us a remake, I beg